Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Erin and I do mostly budgeting videos like the one you're about to see here. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending some time with me. I'm excited to show you my new budget planner setup, and I think this is going to work out for me pretty well. I'm going to use it for the month of October and see how it goes with the particular layout that I chose. And if it works, perfect. If it doesn't, then I will change up the layout for November. So the timing is good. I just purchased the Scribbles That Matter journal from Amazon, and although I really love the quality of the paper, and of course I love the B5 size, is there any, I don't have my other bullet journal to compare it to, but it's larger than the A5, you know, the typical size that you see people journaling in for bullet journaling. There's a couple things that I don't love about it. First things first, like I tried to repair or kind of correct this corner that came crushed. So I was like, you know, kind of working with it and bending it back and stuff. So that's okay. It doesn't look that bad anymore. I'm not a huge fan of the kind of scarlet colored elastic on the gray. I would have preferred gray on gray, but again, these are such minute details, but they're things that you notice when you're working in a journal for any lengthy period of time. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to show you my entire month of October and how I have set everything up and even how I have started to decorate it. So that's right, I said I was not going to decorate heavily in any bullet journals this year because I wanted to move into a more minimalistic style, but I don't know, it just brought me some cheer and some joy to see these things, I don't know, kind of like come to life on paper, and it just makes me happy to look at them. So when you open this journal, of course you have an area for a key, you have index and more index pages. This took me a really long time, and actually that's kind of why this video was slightly delayed. I wanted to do this last week, but this setup took me so much time, and I just wanted to mention to you guys, anybody who is thinking of doing their budget in a notebook and setting it up bullet journal style, or you have a bullet journal that you already use and you just want to incorporate your budget into it, you can get very detailed like this, or you can make it much more simplified. So when you see all the different little tiny squares and the coloring and things like that, and of course this is a huge graph that took me a while to plot out and then draw, it is time consuming. So it just depends on, you know, how detailed and how much time you want to actually invest into your setup. For me, this really helps me, you know, to do this one time and then to have it work for me from October until next December of 2021. It was worth the time investment. So I really like how this turned out. I kind of wish I would have used a gray color instead of pink. So I'll show you my color palette that basically I've been using for all my bullet journaling. This is just like a planter from the Target dollar spot a couple years ago, but as you can see, mostly everything in here is like either I have one sagey muted green, a lot of orange, a lot of brown, and some grays. So basically that is all I've been using in my regular bullet journal, and after this yearly bills layout, that's pretty much all I used moving forward. So here I have a banner that just says monthly bills, and this is something that I'm going to work on obviously every single month. So these are all the bills that we have due. These are our fixed expenses. So I did get a comment, somebody asked me about, you know, our bills. I had done a separate updated video on what our bills are each month, and they asked about, like, you know, like groceries or don't we buy food? Yeah, we do, but when I talk about our bills, I'm always talking about fixed expenses. Things like groceries and gas and miscellaneous items and stuff like that is considered in my budget a variable expense, because those are things that I'm not actually receiving a bill for. I have to plan for them, and the amounts can change week to week or month to month. So those are my variables. Here, these are my fixed expenses. So we have our mortgage, homeowners insurance, cell phones, cars, utilities, so on and so forth. So as I pay them, this is all the month of October, and I'll put a little check mark in the box, in the pink box, as I pay it. And then I have a little line for the date paid and the amount. So when this is finished, this is going to be a lot of information, but that is something I love. I love having something to look back on and see, you know, this 2-page spread give me all kinds of information about, you know, perhaps even the habits of when I'm paying them, because I'm trying to pay our bills by the 1st of every month. That is something that I do. I pay our bills a month ahead right now, but also kind of the trends in our utilities, you know, when are they highest, and, you know, just kind of like watching things and keeping a good eye on things. So I love this setup. So moving on, I did create a full 2-page calendar. This is my October financial snapshot. This is also something that I would do in my Happy Planner setup. So I would use the monthly view, and then I would plug in, you know, today is bill paying day because it's October 1st. But also, this is a payday for me. This is a payday for me. This might be Grubhub, you know, depending on when I do that. My husband was getting unemployment. And then for those of you who didn't hear or didn't see my video where I mentioned it, he did accept a contract job until the end of January. And after that, it could turn into something permanent, but we'll see how it goes. I don't know what the pay is going to be as of right now. It's not what he got paid at his old job. But it's good. So I'm really happy about that, having some regular checks come in, and therefore I will not have to do quite so much Grubhub delivery, because honestly, that is also a huge time investment. So this is where I'll plug in those kind of pay dates, when we can expect things, the amounts we can expect, and then I can look over the month, and maybe halfway through the month I can say, okay, I have X amount of dollars still coming in before the 31st. So that is what my October financial snapshot looks like. And of course, lots of doodles, but like I said, I really wanted to do that. It just makes me happy. And as minimalistic as I would like to be in my life, it just never works out. I always have to, you know, do something extra, and sometimes too extra. It just, I don't know. So anyways, here are a couple other exciting layouts, exciting in my book. So this took me a while to figure out too. This is my entire sinking fund information, and also my different trackers. So if we zoom in just a bit, you'll be able to see at the top I've highlighted in this really nice marigold color for fall what the name of the sinking funds are. So I have Christmas Club, Dogs, Savings Fund, Emergency Fund, and Taxes. And then also under there I have my goals, so the financial goals that go with it. And at the top here, this is the financial goal. For taxes, my goal was to be determined, but I have settled on $2,000. If we get that plus a little bit more, that's great, but I'm not going to worry too heavily about that moving forward. My goals for the month: Christmas Club, $1,500. No, not for the month. My overall goals is to hit $1,500 for Christmas Club, $1,000 for the dogs, $10,000 for savings, $18,000 for emergency fund, and $2,000 for taxes. So if you're wondering where I came up with a random number like $18,000 for emergency fund, it was literally because that was approximately 6 months worth of my take-home pay before I got my pay cut. And October starting points, I have put where I was the last time I did an update. So I'm going to color that in a separate video, but you know where I'm at on this, because I haven't colored anything in as of yet. So let's move over to the next page, which is the October detailed overview. So this is kind of like the October plotting, or you know, the planning for the month. So here is, you know, the bill and the amount paid. This is in no way, shape, or form going to include all of our bills, because there's just not enough space. We have something like, or maybe there is enough space. You know what, I think I did plan for enough space. And then here are variable expenses, and then here I can plug in what I'm plotting for you know, if I put groceries here, week 1, it might be like 120, week 2 might be 100, week 3 might be 150, so on and so forth. So I can plug in those numbers, and then down here, I can kind of plan for or anticipate the income that we'll have coming in. And then over here, I just have a little space for some extra expenses. And then down here, I have what I always call a receipt, and that includes total bills for the month, total expenses, which includes variable expenses and extras, total income, and then total saved. And then saved would be for my sinking funds. And then down here in the very bottom corner is what I have left after that, if anything. So that is how I'm going to work that page. And I need to do a page like this for every single month. So moving on, this was a giant mistake, and I covered it up with what I thought was some complimentary colored scrapbook paper. So I just put that in with some tape. And then over here is my first week. Now the rest of my weeks don't look quite like this because I have like kind of these giant, very bold headers above all of the blocks where I'm tracking things. But this is just going to be for October 1 through the 3rd. Now the reason I'm doing that is because I really want to have a page for every single week. And this week is half September and half October. So I just wanted to have somewhere I could capture this. I may not have the ability or, you know, the wherewithal to fill out everything on this page, but it's here if I want to use it. So I have my income, variable expenses, sinking funds, November bills. Now that's something I'll talk about. This is my receipt, and then down here is a little mini credit tracker. So for some of you who saw my credit video, my credit used to be over 800 because after we paid off all our credit card debt, our credit scores really skyrocketed. And that was such a satisfying and just fulfilling outcome after the hard work of paying down credit card debt. However, I did have an incident with my Apple Card and alternately Goldman Sachs Bank that backs the Apple Card. I had applied for one last year. This is more than a year ago now. And when I got it and I activated it, it defaulted to, or it made itself my default payment in iTunes or on my Apple account. So it kicked out my Discover card, and the $2.99 a month that I usually got charged to my Discover was getting charged to this new Apple card. And I wasn't paying attention to it because I wasn't really looking at it because I wasn't charging on it. And subsequently what had happened is that 2 months had gone by with this $2.99 charge. So I owed them, you know, $6 plus late fees, and they happily reported my infraction to the credit agencies and the credit bureaus, and my credit score dropped probably 80 points for having a derogatory mark on there for a late payment. So I was 30 days past due. It was very disheartening for me, but lesson learned. So anyway, my credit score, I'm still trying to rebuild, but that 30 days past due mark on my Vantage score is, it's going to bring me down for years. So anyway, lesson learned. So the reason why this is a bit different is because here out looks much more simplified for the next week. So this is October 4th through 10th and the 11th through the 17th. On these weeks, I did keep this little mini credit tracker, but it made it very, very crowded. So I don't think I'm going to do that moving forward. I might do this like, you know, just one of these per month instead of every single week. The November bills is something that I also need to track, and I track typically in my budget when I show that to you guys every week, and that's where I start to stash money away for the next month's bills. So when we're in October, the money that I'm putting aside for bills is actually for November's bills. So my paychecks don't quite cover that, which is why I needed to use my husband's unemployment or my Grubhub delivery or whatever the case may be to kind of subsidize that, because my take-home pay is about $2,600 a month now after my $400 pay cut, and it doesn't quite cover all of our bills. Close, but not quite. So anyways, that's where I keep track of that. And again, this is just a repeat. Income, variable expenses, sinking funds, and then my weekly recap or receipt. And I won't be able to put money into my sinking funds every single week. This is just here for the weeks that I choose to do it or that I'm able to do it. So I just built it in as a standard block on this layout. And then moving forward, this is for October 18th through 24th, and then the 25th through the 31st. And as you can see, the only thing missing on here is that little mini credit tracker, but it gave me a little bit more room to shift things around a bit, you know, a little bit more room for these blocks to breathe. And, you know, I can introduce that back if I need to at another time, or again, like I said, I might just create one for the month. And then lastly, this is going to be my October recap. So this is my monthly budget recap, total income, the source, the date of the income, the amount, and then down here is the total. Outgoing expenses, going to bills, food, gas, so on and so forth, the amount, and again, the total. Oh, I didn't finish this line. And then down here, there's kind of an ultimate receipt, incoming amount, outgoing amount, and what's remaining, if anything. And then down here, this is something I just added for fun, just because I had the space to do it. I wanted to give the score, or give the month a score. So how well did I do this month? And that determination will be based on, was I able to save a lot? Was I able to meet all my expenses? Did I have some money left over? You know, it just depends on how I feel. It's not really based on anything completely subjective. It's just basically how I feel about the month. So I created these really wonky and ugly stars, but there's 10 of them here. So of course, one being a bad score month and or a bad monthly score, and then 10 being a great monthly score. So that is it. I think I pretty much captured everything that I wanted to track for October. But if I think of anything else, of course, I will be adding it as I move forward. This is really exciting to me. I love this layout so much, and it was definitely worth all the counting and the plotting and, you know, the figuring, how many squares and how much space do I have. It just really worked out quite nicely, and I'm very happy with it. I even have one whole bar down here in case I want to add another bill, or in case I, you know, somehow accumulate another bill or another expense, whatever the case may be. So yeah, the only regret is the color. I just wish I wouldn't have used pink for that. But yeah, that's it. So I hope that maybe this inspires you a little bit. I know that I felt inspired to change things up. And you guys, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I really enjoy changing up the way I pay our bills. Not really the method, but just the kind of the medium that I'm using to track everything, and, you know, the way I'm tracking. So I'm a very visual person, and when I see something like this, it's very inspiring and motivating to me to, you know, fill in all the blanks and keep track of everything and be on top of it. And it's very satisfying, you know, to see this, but also once I see all the data plugged in, it will be even more so. So I'm super excited about that. And like I said, I hope that this inspires you. Maybe in the fall, it's, you know, you're thinking it's time for you to switch things up again. And hopefully this gives you some ideas, or maybe you have a system down pat and you can't imagine ever giving it up to adopt something new. And that's totally understandable too. You know, if you have something that works, I mean, the old adage is, if it's not broke, why fix it? But for me, I do find inspiration in changing things and keeping things fresh. So that was just kind of my motivation for doing this. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did and you would like to give it a thumbs up, that would be much appreciated. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love if you stuck around and did so. I love seeing your comments, and even though I don't get back to everyone always so quickly, I do read everything and enjoy the feedback. So it just really helps me too when I'm kind of planning out what my next step is going to be, you know, and going from there. And the feedback that I got on my Capital One video, you know, and using an online checking and savings account, I really appreciate that. I know a lot of you are using that kind of system, and you had some helpful information information too. In fact, there was one comment who said that you do not need to have a Capital One 360 checking account in order to open their savings accounts. So again, that's something that I didn't know, and I put it out there that I didn't know that, and I'm glad that one of you did, because that might be helpful to somebody else who's watching and maybe is on the fence about opening something like that. But for me, it's been very rewarding and easy to use, very user-friendly, and I've just been enjoying that too. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope that you're all doing well. I hope that your week is off to a really great start. Thinking about all of you, I hope that you are healthy and happy, and hopefully I will see you guys in my next video. Take care.